realize that. Have you ever laid in bed staring at your phone, replaying his words over and over? There, I miss you already. You're not like the others. I just want to feel close to you. And suddenly it hits you, was he being reeled or just trying to get in my bed? There, let's not sugarcoat it. Some men are masters of charm. They don't lie, they just speak in riddles. They know exactly what to say to make you feel seen, wanted, and lit up from head to toe. And if you're not careful, you can confuse those seductive sentences for emotional connection when really all he's connecting with is his desire. And that's where so many women get caught there, because when a man wants to sleep with you, he doesn't always say it directly. He implies it, he wraps it in compliments in late night texts. They realize that in that you up message that makes you feel desired, but somehow used the next morning. So how do you tell the difference? How do you know when a man is truly drawn to you? Your mind, your heart, your essence, and not just your body. That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Because if a man wants to sleep with you, he'll say certain things, not just the obvious ones, but clever psychological, emotional things that hit the exact buttons designed to lower your guard. And once you start recognizing these phrases for what they are, everything changes. You won't fall for the fantasy anymore. You'll see the intention behind the words, and you'll be able to respond not from neediness, but from power. So let's get into it. Here are 5 things a man will say when he's trying to sleep with you and what they really mean. When a man says, let's not overthink this, let's just go with the flow, it can sound so chill, right? It sounds like ease, like freedom. Realize they're like he's just trying to avoid pressure and enjoy what's happening naturally. And if you're a woman who wants to connect, who's craving something real but doesn't want to come across as needy or controlling, that sentence can feel safe, like an invitation to something spontaneous and magical. But here's what you need to know: that phrase is off-field. It's a subtle way of protecting himself from responsibility while still reaping the benefits of your time your energy and your body. When a man says, let's go with the flow, especially early on, he's not always trying to be present. Sometimes he's actually trying to avoid clarity. They realize because clarity requires intention. Clarity requires someone to say, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. And if a man knows you're interested in something deeper, but he's only looking for something casual, he'll use this phrase like a soft escape hatch. He'll make it sound like taking it slow or avoiding labels is mature. Rushing into conversations about exclusivity is too early or not chill. But what he's really doing is keeping things open-ended enough so he can get close to you physically without having to commit emotionally. This isn't about blaming him. It's about understanding the game. Because when you hear this line and don't question it, you may think you're being the cool, low-maintenance woman who's not pressuring him. But what you're actually doing is stepping into his frame instead of your own. And over time, that will erode your confidence, because you'll keep giving your time, your inner intimacy, without ever feeling fully safe, fully chosen, or fully clear on what this even is. The truth is, go with the flow is fine if the current is headed somewhere. But if the river leads nowhere, you're just drifting there. A man who's serious about you will still want to enjoy the journey, but he won't be afraid to define the direction. He won't get defensive when you ask what this is or where it's going. He'll welcome the conversation because he's not just flowing for flowing towards something. So the next time a man tells you not to overthink it, take a breath. Don't panic, don't argue. Just get clear. Ask yourself, is this a genuine moment of enjoying the now? Or is a tactic to delay responsibility and avoid commitment there? Because you are not too much for wanting clarity. You are not needy for wanting to know where you stand. Any man who makes you feel like you are is already telling you where you stand. Realize that you just have to be brave enough to listen. At first glance, it feels like the ultimate compliment. You're not like other girls, you're so sexy and fun. He says it with that twinkle in his eye, that mischievous grin. Maybe it's after a night of flirting, when the attraction is high and the energy is electric and your heart skips a beat, right? Because we all want to feel different. Chosen. Seen? But here's where you have to pause, because while that line sounds flattering, it's often the most seductive disguise for lust-driven intent. See, when a man tells you you're not like other girls, but immediately follows it up by focusing solely on how sexy, easygoing, or fun you are. It's not about your essence. It's about your effect. He's not complimenting your heart, your intellect, your boundaries, or your values. He's complimenting how good you make him feel, how low pressure the interaction seems, how exciting the chemistry is. It's surface level intimacy wrapped in emotional language. And for women craving depth, this line can be a trap because it feels personal. It feels like connection. But if you strip away the flattery, what's he actually saying? He's essentially telling you, I like this version of you that's low maintenance, hot and playful, and I hope you stay in that lane. He's not praising your soul. He's praising your compliance. He's subtly rewarding you for not asking too many questions. They're not setting boundaries, not challenging him with anything emotionally vulnerable. Now, don't get me wrong. Being sexy and fun is great. It's magnetic, powerful feminine energy. But if that's all he sees, you need to ask yourself, does he really want to know me? Or does he just want to enjoy the version of me that gives him pleasure? Because here's what you deserve there: to be admired not just for how you look in a dress, but how you carry yourself in a room, to be valued not just for how well you flirt, but how deeply you feel, how you handle conflict, how you love, to be seen not just as an escape from his stress, but as a partner in building something real. The man who's serious about you will say, you're sexy as hell, and the way you think just blows my mind. He'll flirt with your body, but fall for your mind. He'll admire your lightness, but crave your depth. Realize that because real men don't fear your fullness, they're drawn to it. So the next time someone says you're not like other girls, ask yourself, is he saying that because he's trying to earn access to my body, or because he's starting to fall in love with my soul? That distinction, it'll save you months of confusion. And more importantly, it'll protect your heart from people who only want to borrow it for the night. When a man says, let's hang out at my place, it's more private, just the two of us. It's easy to interpret it as intimacy. He wants you alone. He wants the comfort of a quiet space. He wants to connect, right? Maybe it's just the most convenient way to blur the line between connection and access. Let's break this down. When a man invites you to his place early on, especially if that's the only thing he ever suggests, it often isn't about privacy or connection. It's about proximity. It's about removing the guardrails. When you're in his space without the energy of a crowd, a restaurant, a plan, or structure, he's not just creating intimacy. He's removing your defenses. No public accountability, no investment. It becomes all too easy for things to slide into the physical without ever building anything emotional. And for a woman who's craving real connection, this can be deeply confusing because it feels like closeness. It feels more intimate than a loud dinner date. You're alone. You're talking, maybe watching a movie, maybe opening up a little. But the truth is, being physically close doesn't automatically mean he's emotionally interested there. And this is where women often get pulled into a false sense of progress. You start to think, he wouldn't invite me over if he didn't really like me, right? But sometimes a man invites you over because it's the easiest path to what he wants, not because he's investing in a future. Now, let's be clearing. Realize they're hanging out at someone's place isn't inherently wrong. It's not about puritanical rules. It's about context. If a man has never taken you on a real date, if he doesn't make the effort to see you outside of the bedroom or the couch, if every plan begins and ends with you in his apartment at 10 p.m., realize that there on a Thursday night, you need to stop asking what he's saying and start looking at what he's not doing. Because a man who's serious about you, he doesn't default to easy. He plans. He puts thought into how he spends time with you. He wants to be seen with you, not just have you behind closed doors. He doesn't just want the convenience of your body. He wants the experience of knowing you. So the next time a guy says, let's just chill at my place, pause and ask yourself, has he earned that space with you yet? Has he shown that he's interested in your mind, your heart, just your curves on his couch? Your time, your energy, and your presence are valuable. And the man who gets to experience your intimacy should be the one who's shown he values it too. Don't let private be code for invisible. You deserve to be seen fully, publicly, proudly. And if all he ever offers is his couch and Netflix, he's not inviting you in. He's hoping you'll lower your standards. When a man looks you in the eyes and says, I don't really do labels, but I care about you, it can sound like depth, like emotional nuance, like he's saying, I feel something for you, but I want to take it slow. And if you're someone who values connection, who doesn't want to rush things or scare someone away, you might hear those words and think, okay, this is fine. We'll grow into something real. but you have to hear what he's really saying. Because when a man tells you he doesn't do labels, but he still wants your time, your body, your affection, your loyalty, what he's really asking for is emotional exclusivity without emotional accountability. He wants the comfort of intimacy without the clarity of commitment. He wants to be able to text you at 2 a.m., say all the sweet things, maybe even sleep with you, but still keep his options wide open. And if you try to talk about what this is, he'll say you're overthinking it. He'll pull back. He'll say he just wants things to feel natural. Let's be honest. There is nothing natural about building an emotional bond without clear expectations. The truth is, labels don't create pressure. Lack of clarity does. Labels don't force connection. They define it. They anchor it. They protect both people from drifting into confusion, resentment, or misaligned expectations. Now, here's the subtle trap. He says, I care about you. And those words can be powerful, especially if they come in quiet moments, in soft tones, maybe even after intimacy. You want to believe that care means he's on his way to love. But care without commitment is comfort. And comfort, if not anchored in mutual desire, becomes complacency. The man who says, I care about you, without being willing to define what you are, isn't being mysterious. He's being non-committal. He's keeping you emotionally invested while keeping himself unaccountable. That way, if you get hurt later, he can say, I never promised anything. And that phrase, I never said we were exclusive, is the exit strategy of the emotionally evasive. Now listen closely, not every relationship needs a label on date one. You don't need to rush to define something before you feel it. But if weeks have passed or months and you're sleeping together, emotionally bonding, acting like a couple, and he still dodges the label, that's a choice. And his refusal to commit is the commitment. A man who genuinely wants something real with you will not be scared of words. He'll want to claim the connection. He won't make you guess. He won't keep you in limbo. So when a man says, I don't do labels, but I care about you, take a breath and ask yourself, is this emotional honesty, or is this a polite way of saying that you're good enough to sleep with, but not clear enough to build with? Because the woman who values herself never fears clarity. She knows that care without commitment is not love. And she's willing to walk away from almost to make room for absolutely. It starts with a whisper. Maybe it's in the middle of a heated kiss. Maybe it's in a 1 a.m. voice note that comes with a little laugh and a lot of lust. He says, I've never wanted someone this badly. Our chemistry is insane. And in that moment, your heart ignites. Because as a woman, when a man desires you with that kind of intensity, it feels like fire. It feels like magic. Like finally, someone sees you, craves you, can't get enough of you. But here's the truth you need to hear beneath the heat. Desire does not equal depth. And intensity is not the same thing as intimacy. When a man says, our chemistry is insane, and follows it up with statements about how badly he wants you, how much he's never felt this kind of passion, how different. It can sound romantic. But if that's all he ever talks about, if the only connection he ever mentions is your sexual connection, then what he's really obsessed with is the rush, not the relationship. Let me ask you something. When's the last time he said he was curious about your mind? When did he last ask about your values, your childhood, your fears, your future? Because a man who's emotionally invested doesn't just praise your body, he explores your soul. And if his main focus is how good you feel in his arms, but never how strong you are when life gets tough, that's not connection, that's consumption. Chemistry can be intense, but it's easy to confuse chemistry with clarity. He might feel obsessed, but obsession fades when it's not grounded in respect. And women so often fall into the trap of equating urgency with seriousness. He texts me all night. He can't wait to see me. He says I drive him crazy. That's great. But what happens when you slow down? What happens when you ask for consistency or boundaries or time apart? If he pulls away the moment the chase stops, then the chemistry wasn't about you. It was about the high. You weren't the person, just the drug. Look, it's intoxicating to be desired, to be told you're unforgettable. But a man who's serious about you won't just want your body. He'll want to earn your trust. He won't just light a fire. He'll keep it burning with presence, patience, and purpose. He'll know that chemistry without character is just fireworks, bright, beautiful, and gone in seconds. So the next time you hear, I've never wanted someone this badly, pause. And ask yourself, does he want me? Or does he just want what he feels when he's around me? Because the man who truly values you won't just talk about how much he wants you. He'll show you in the slow moments, in the silence. in the substance. And that kind of man, he doesn't just set your body on fire, he shows up for your heart. So here's the truth, the part that most people never tell you: a man doesn't need to lie to mislead you. All he has to do is say just enough to keep you hooked. A flirty compliment, a vague promise, a late night invite wrapped in charm. But now you know better. When a man says, let's go with the flow, he may be trying to avoid commitment while still getting closeness. When he tells you you're not like other girls, you're just so sexy and fun, he might be flattering you to bypass depth. When all he ever suggests is his place, he's looking for access, not connection. When he says, I don't do labels, but I care about you, he's asking you to stay loyal to something undefined. And when he talks about how insane your chemistry is, he may be chasing the high, not the human. But listen, this isn't about walking away from every guy who says these things. It's about paying attention to context, to patterns, to consistency over charm. It's about asking, does this man's behavior align with his words? And even more importantly, do I feel secure and seen, or am I always wondering where I stand? Because the woman who truly values herself, she doesn't fear chemistry, but she doesn't settle for it either. She doesn't mistake lust for loyalty, and she knows that while desire feels amazing, what makes a man stay is respect, connection, and clarity. So don't just listen to what he says. Listen to what he does, and most importantly, listen to yourself. Your intuition is not overreacting. Your desire for clarity isn't too much. You are not hard to love. You are just not meant to be a layover for someone who's never planning to land. And when you start living with that kind of self-worth, you stop being the woman who waits to be chosen. You become the woman who decides who's worthy of access to her world. Now, if you love this message, I want to hear from you. Comment below. Which of these signs have you seen in the past? And what's one boundary you're going to hold stronger next time? Hit that like button. If you're done falling for half promises, subscribe for weekly strategies on attraction, confidence, and becoming the woman no man can forget. Because this isn't about avoiding men. It's about attracting the right ones by becoming the woman who knows her value and isn't afraid to walk when someone doesn't rise to meet it. I'll see you in the next one. You've got this.